Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And a wonderful morning to you. Success does not consist in never making mistakes, but in never making the same one a second time. So said George Bernard Shaw. And on this day, may the Festival of Lights be the harbinger of joy and prosperity. On the holy occasion of Diwali, it's a great pleasure from the Newsfirst team to wish you all a wonderful Diwali and a happy New Year. And welcome to Newsline, live as always from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And my colleague, Bandula Jayasekara of Pathikada fame, is right here with me. Good morning, Bandula.
Good morning, Faraz.
It's all right if I didn't call you Mr. Jayasekara.
Then I'll call you Mr. Faraz.
Wonderful. Now then, it's a happy day today, right? It's Diwali and so on.
Festival of Lights.
Festival of Lights. But when, Bandula, are we going to have light on this darkness, which I call corruption?
Or in our hearts.
In our hearts. When is all this corruption and so on going to have lights focused on it?
And also, Faraz, you look at the newspapers, the politicians are issuing these religious messages.
Indeed.
Whether it's be it Sinhala Tamil New Year, Christmas or Diwali, they are the ones. Why should they issue statements?
Absolutely.
And most of them are today I saw real corrupt, and they are issuing, wishing people. They have nothing to do with religion.
It's a bit of a misnomer, really, isn't it, when they try and do this. After all, they seem to have the most immense difficulties in keeping their grubby little fingers, podgy, grubby fingers, from the pot, which is called the state money.
And people, these are not, you can't say state, it's people's money, because
yes, it's
one of our
money.
viewers said, you don't call it, state money of the state, it's our money.
Yes.
Ordinary people.
It's the people's resources. Would be a better description and perhaps more apt than state resources.
Yeah, definitely, because where does the state get the money from?
It's from the people.
Yeah.
And it's the people who have to continue to pay when they keep borrowing, and they borrow so much. And we've been following the bond issue, obviously, since March 2015. We first reported it on the 8th of March 2015, all that time ago, Bandla. And 2.5 years later, after several events in between, we really now know a lot more, thanks to the evidence unearthed by the Commission of Inquiry.
But again, for us, we are talking of 2.5 years. But see what happened yesterday. This elderly person, she stole 3 mangoes.
That's right, just
because
3 mangoes.
She was a poor lady. That doesn't mean that they should steal, but still she was hungry.
Yes.
And she's arrested for 24 hours by the police. Right? She's behind bars, no water is given. We reported it last night.
Yes.
But look at this, the highway, the looting, the bond issue, look all this, but what's happening to them? Nothing is happening there.
Nothing.
And these poor ladies are put behind bars, the poor people are put behind bars.
I was going to say, I don't know, because that seems to be a catchword now, a catchphrase. I don't know.
Maybe the ordinary masses also should say, I don't know.
Yeah, especially when they come to seek their vote, they should just look at the guy and say, I don't know you. I don't know.
Because people should, I would use the word rise up, stand up.
Rise up, politicians. Stand up. Indeed, indeed. And the Bond Commission, Yasanta Kodagona, representing the Attorney General's Department, referred to this bond matter as perhaps the greatest financial scam ever to afflict the people of Sri Lanka ever since independence in 1948. That is a statement not easily said, I'm sure. Said with a lot of consideration and being aware of various facts.
And Yasanta Kodagona is a very honorable man.
Absolutely. And that's what he said.
Like his father.
You see, you seem to know a lot of...
Professor Nandas Kodagona are very honorable people.
And still serving the country, still serving the people. And I'm sure he didn't say it lightly. This has all happened, Randana, because a departure from procedure. The Prime Minister said to dear Mahendran, this hotshot banker who came here and was given the post of the governorship, he said to him, change the system. So he did. He forgot to follow procedure. That is the departure. That is the start of this scam. That's the start. And it appears to be that this entire transaction has been premeditated. You know, if it was a murder charge, somebody died, premeditated is murder in the first degree. In the US it's first degree, but in here it's just murder. Yeah? And that's what happened here. The entire system's been murdered. Be it the bond, then it was the outer circular highway, then it was the Central Expressway, then it was the coal transaction. The Supreme Court said that it had shocked the conscience of the court. And yet, Dr. Batagoda continues to misinform or under-inform the cabinet of ministers and carries on. There's Lakshman Kirialla, who's submitted a cabinet memo whilst the competing bidding process is going on, and he brings in, or tries to bring in, a couple of companies. The first fellow forgets his bid bond, or doesn't put it, he's so sure he's going to get it. And then when it's pointed out, the Prime Minister said, oh no, cancel all this. But the point is they didn't recall the tender. They just had another round.
And yesterday also we exposed this gas.
Exactly.
There's another
even
one.
The gas. Bandula, even the supply of oxygen, even that is engulfed in some controversy.
So this looks like Yahapalana.
Well,
this is
it's
hallmark
apparently
of
this is
Yahapalana.
Yahapalana. And, you know, they say, Bandula, sometimes, don't they, that a photo or a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, I got a different take on that. I say that a picture sometimes can be worth over 15 billion rupees.
What's this picture?
Well, no, what I'm saying is this picture taken by a reporter from the island, the Sunday Island, and published last Sunday, it encompasses the whole thing. Do you know about these procedures? Having been on the periphery even of what Yasanta Kodagoda says is perhaps the greatest scam, financial scam ever to afflict the people of Sri Lanka. And having been unable to explain coherently about this bunch of money that the chief financial officer says was nothing to do with that company. It was the chairman's money. 165 million rupees. And having reminded the general public that the tax files are very low indeed and urges them to pay tax, we then find a complete departure, a complete and utter departure. He attends a meeting where it's obvious everybody is talking about 15 billion. The Prime Minister is talking about 15 billion in Parliament. Kabir Hashim, then the minister, is talking about 15 billion. Manik Samaravikrama, who had no right really to be there at that breakfast meeting, talks about 15 billion. And then Ravi K issues a letter talking about 75 billion. Undated, unreferenced, and the letter is notable for its crispiness of the paper, even though it appears that it was issued so long ago. And then the Sunday Island captures this photograph. This is the photograph.
Rome is burning and Neros are playing the harp.
Yes. Navagilunot band tune.
For them.
For them. I think we've seen enough. Thank you, Control Room. That to me speaks, that picture speaks volumes.
But this is all a lie. Like in another country for us, they should have resigned completely.
Of course.
But they remain in parliament. I mean, people, your guests have said they still use security and other facilities.
Yes.
So this is a farce.
I had to make use of a taxi recently, and the driver got talking about whether or not Yahapalana could be seen. And the driver said to me, do you know that Minister Karunanayake lives in this building. And I said, oh really, does he? He said, yeah. I said, and what's so special? He can live there. He said, yeah, he can live there, but I'm not talking about him living there, he said. I'm talking about a level of security, the level of backups that he saw there that day, that whichever day it was. And I'm thinking, and he said to me, he said, but he's an MP. He's not a minister, he said to me. I said, well, yes, we'll have to check. We'll have to see. I'm sure that if we ask our legal department to send a right to information note, they'll come back and say that it's on security grounds, they can't tell us. Yeah, right, okay.
No, but the thing
But
is,
you walk from your apartment to here sometimes. Yeah. Do you feel unsafe?
No, there is no
Do you have
problem.
any security following you?
Yeah, no problems.
You just walk,
Yeah.
right? And you feel safe?
Yeah. But they don't feel safe because they have problems. They have problems, and in fact, the thing is, they got so much of money, they want more money. They forget that we all die one day. There's a big problem with these politicians. They want money and more money.
Not satisfied with having carried out this Bondgate affair, right? All these people, whoever's involved in it. One young person, citizen of our country, a fellow citizen, has had to flee the country.
She's been threatened.
Due to threats. Absolutely astonishing.
But in another country, after this is reported, the leaders should have issued statements, condemn, but nothing has happened in this country. Not from the President, not from the Prime Minister, not from the Minister of Justice, nobody is. But the civil society, they should start condemning this. This is a young lady who gave evidence against Ravi Karunanayake, and this is very well reported today. And nothing has happened, and she has to leave the country. Just imagine the plight of these poor people, like this lady who sold 3 mangoes.
Exactly.
You think people, in fact, that way I feel, people are unsafe.
Yes.
I mean, we as the media, we are doing the role, we are playing the role of the government as well as the opposition. I mean, I don't know how long people will enjoy this freedom.
Thank you to this viewer who says, was the job of the Commission to give a report as quickly as possible like a normal case, or to place before the country the entire truth by calling all relevant witnesses? As it is, does the country know the entire truth? Now, we've been treated to a statement by the Commission and so on. It transpires that the Prime Minister has been sent a questionnaire in the form of an interrogatory, and that they expect a response in the form of an affidavit. Bandula, what if the police want to question you on some matter? I don't think you can ask the friendly copper to say to you, I don't think you can say to him, listen, old chap, can you go away and send me a questionnaire? Because I'm a bit busy now. Go away, come back with the questionnaire. Do you think you can do that?
Maybe we should all start doing that.
What about Captain Tissa, who's in remand now in the Wasim Tajuddin matter? What do you think? How do you think the CID or the investigative agency, whoever it is, CCD, CID, whoever, what do you think they will say if Captain Tissa said, listen, mata bෑ, where prashna tika evannako mata, you send it to me and I'll reply. And have a lawyer present so I can do it as an affidavit. What is this country coming to? Is, in your knowledge, I don't know. I don't know. So in your knowledge, Bandula, tell me, is the Prime Minister above any law?
No, he's not, because take like Canada and Australia, it's zero tolerance on corruption. But here, this is not. This is accepted. This is the sad thing. This is the sad thing. But we have to, they can't be above the law. Everybody should be equal, but which is not happening. So sometimes I wonder, why is this international community keeping quiet?
You've touched the right button this morning, Bandula. Why is it that the international community don't see anything wrong happening in this country? Is it because, and Shaminder Ferdinando from the island was telling me the other day, he said, look, this is obviously because the Western powers want a new constitution.
They want, and plus this, I'm sure your guests have said, these people rob wearing a clean suit.
Yes, that's
They're
right.
not in sarong.
No, no.
This is another reason.
The sarong Johnnies
and they
are not
move,
here.
they are part of the International Democratic Union. This is what happened. They go about hobnob, they go to the cocktail circuit.
How on earth can these people show their faces in the public?
No, they got no shame, but this must be, people must end this.
They must.
People should stand up against, we are not interested in UNP or SLFP or JVP. This happens to us.
Indeed, indeed. Indeed. It is absolutely astonishing. They appear to be going about with absolute disregard for the people.
And I like to see for us statements made by embassies. Sometimes when Sri Lanka coughs, they issue a statement for the slightest thing.
Absolutely.
Some of these Western embassies.
Absolutely.
Why are they keeping quiet? It's time they issue statements and condemn this. They have not done this.
They haven't done it. But in the previous regime, if anything was remotely amiss, oh boy, they were quick off the mark. They would UPS it or DHL it, and it'll be boom.
Because maybe they love these great bank robbers.
It appears that all these so-called international watchdogs, self-appointed some of them, are absolutely deaf and blind and dumb at the moment, because not one of them is raising their voice of concern.
Because then they also become a part of it.
Well, they are. Sometimes, Mandela, you can do more damage by not doing anything. When good people do nothing, it's a big problem. When they are immune to the suffering of the people, then there's a big problem. I mean, these politicians, whilst they're robbing and raping the treasury, the people's money, as you quite rightly pointed out, are they aware of the growing difficulties of the rural masses?
People are asking for water. People are asking for food. Basic education. They don't have a roof.
And roads. Some of those roads we've seen, absolutely dreadful. Dreadful, dreadful, dreadful.
And you'd have seen the Prime Minister of Netherlands cycling.
Right? He parked his car in the palace.
Yeah, and he cycles.
Yeah.
Right, and then I know for a fact the ambassador for Netherlands in Sri Lanka, she cycles.
Yeah.
But not our people. Even the people who came from the back door, the nationalists, they also want luxury cars.
Indeed, indeed.
They cannot cycle, but
I saw an advertisement in the papers by the JVP asking for candidates, and they said one of the things is that it said, if you are not interested in permits and cars and benefits, then apply to be a candidate. Are you politically inclined?
No, but no, the thing is, I want to answer is, now look at the so-called joint opposition. The opposition, they all are united in this luxury car issue.
Oh yeah.
So nobody has said, look, okay, did Dinesh Gunadhana say, okay, I will give my car, I'm not accepting, I'm not going to take that 100,000 or Bandula Gunadhana, any of these people. No, they have accepted it. So they are also part of this.
They're all part of it.
One politician to come out and say, I'm not going to accept these benefits, I'm here to serve the people. They haven't done it.
None of them. None of them.
So this is one big club. They will say, when we come into power, we will change this. But they won't.
What's that saying? You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Yeah, but for us, this has to change. We need a third force. We need a third force. We need people who will serve. This is what is important.
We'll need people who are honest, willing and capable of providing leadership.
Yeah, definitely. But so that's what I say, we are not interested in this party politics. We don't need this, because the politicians will try to divide us. That's their job. Indeed,
indeed. And of course, in the meantime, we have to acknowledge that the governor of the central bank got an award. So it looks like the central bank is getting on the right track. But nevertheless, I want to say this to Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, that he has a vast array of rules and regulations at his disposal, and it's best if he didn't wait for anything.
But he is honorable man, but I don't believe in these awards for us, because we got the best finance minister in the world. What happened to him?
He's sitting in the back benches, but with an office at Temperature.
Yeah, so who's giving these awards? Who's giving these awards? We have the best health minister, we have the, everything. The president was, was on the Nobel Peace Prize list. We don't need all this. They have to get back to work. They have to answer to the people, not to the world.
Indeed, indeed. Now the island also carries this the story about this young lady who had to leave the country because of threats. And of course, it also carries a thing saying that the joint opposition wants a no-faith motion against Rajita before the budget.
Yeah, but I would like to tell the joint opposition also, you say, look, we are clean. Here we are handing, I'm coming back to that same story.
Yeah.
We are handing back our vehicles, we will manage, we will serve you. But none of them are willing to say that for us. None of them are willing to say that.
Absolutely.
So they cannot point a finger. They cannot say, look, bring this on. So they are also corrupt.
That is true. That is, I quite agree. One of our viewers, please discuss what choice we have for an alternative government, or is it Hobson's choice?
No. We cannot give up.
We can't.
We have to try. We have to give. There will be people. If we look, there will be people.
We have to be constantly on the look.
Yes, it's not easy, but we have to. But again, sometimes the sad thing is some of these so-called honorable people,
yes,
they go to the parliament and then they change.
They become dishonorable.
Yeah, they become dishonorable, they become corrupt. So we need this complete change.
Do you see anything wrong in the youthful members of parliament following like little sheep their seniors who are in trouble and standing next to them, in camera opportunities and so on? Do you think that's a good thing for them to do?
I think they should get out of this herd mentality for us.
Yeah.
We don't need, we don't need this buffalo mentality. They should get out of all. They should see they are answerable to the people finally. People are very unhappy.
You're right. I got a call from Canada, a viewer who follows our programs using the net and so on. He told me that he's 84 years old. His first name is Regis. He lives in Canada, and he called me last night and gave me a take on the constitutional amendment. I shall be carrying a recording with Mr. Regis in the next few days, because what he had to say was quite important. And he also pointed out that we had said that people don't want a new constitution, but they want to address the cost of living. But it should be like in Canada, that the people's rights and so on should all be enshrined in this whole, even their economic rights.
For us, we have rules and regulations, we have laws. They are not implemented, like you said. Okay, one rule for Captain this, another one for the Prime Minister. You can't. This is the law. It's there. We have all this. Take traffic violations.
The thing is with that, you see, the minister in charge of the subject of the central bank, that is what is being, they're fact-finding about the bonds issued by the central bank. So the minister in charge of the central bank should present himself. He should leave everything else aside, because this is very important, and this should be top priority, not going off to some meeting or other.
But again, for us, okay, President Sirisena is the common candidate. The change was made, he was the part of the change.
Yeah.
He should be proactive.
Yes.
He should take action. This is what he has to do, because he appointed Prime Minister Vikramasinghe.
Yes.
So now, this is still, the President is President Sirisena. He should take action. Don't you think so?
Yes, and I think he's on his way to taking action.
When?
After all, well, that's the question. When? The Bond Commission have asked for an extension because they need time, obviously, to write their hopefully voluminous report.
For us, people are tired of commissions and committees, everything. Even like looking at the cost of living, there is a committee. They meet with lots of, I don't know where they meet, whether it's 5-star hotels or wherever. Yeah. Right? But people are tired of this. People want results. We are not
I'll tell you, some of these hotels doing a rip-roaring trade. That person we referred to earlier, Steve Samuel, the executive assistant to Arjun Aloysius, who didn't know what RK meant, or AM, or PM, or even Honorable PM. He didn't know anything. And he is a man of some intelligence. He's served in an airline in the Middle East for, by his own testimony, 25 years. And he didn't know, in general parlance at least, what Honorable, H-O-N, PM meant. Probably any 16-year-old or 18-year-old know that. But this is the state of affairs of our parliament. I don't know.
Yes, I'm sure, like you said, the ordinary man also can say, I don't know. So, they can't do anything.
They can't do anything.
What happened to these independent commissions? Nobody's talking about what's happened to the police commission.
Well, one chap resigned and went away, didn't he?
Yeah, nothing is happening. I'm even wondering what's happening to the Human Rights Commission.
And then we had a front page story in the Daily News a couple of days ago in which the FCID have unearthed bank accounts or some payment of 4-point-something billion from the Ministry of whatever it was. And the money had transpired, it was in Hong Kong. And that Daily News items reported that the money had actually is allegedly gone to the bank account of a person who is known to be a very secretive businessman, Tirukumar Nadesan. And but as we're going back now and handing this back to MCR, I want to say this. Isn't it significant, Bandula, that on the day that Mahinda Rajapaksa called Ranil Wickremesinghe and said, come over to Temple Trees, matey, I'm going home, Ranil Wickremesinghe was accompanied by that same secretive businessman, Tirukumar Nadesan. It's been widely reported. Now then, to me, now, looking at all these things that's happening with the bond and so on, and all the corruption that's gone on, it is rather significant that Mr. Wickremesinghe was accompanied to Temple Trees in the early hours of that morning by Mr. Nadesan. Why? He's not a politician, but he has a reputation of being, a secretive businessman.
Malik was not a politician when he went for that breakfast meeting.
That's right. He was the chairman of the United National Party, but he was supposedly an advisor to the Prime Minister. God knows of what. Anyway, on that note, we wish all our viewers a happy Deepavali. And on that note, Bandula Jayasekara, thank you. It's time to do Talk of the Town, isn't it? Thank you for watching. That's it on Diwali Day from Newsline. Take care. God bless.
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.